theme for this live review for this show from AEW All Out 2020 is going to feature me including the tagline in this, one of my favorite quotes of all time: a setback is only setting you up for a comeback. There's no perfect person in this world. There's no perfect wrestling match. Well, some of the best matches of all time, maybe. But there's no perfect wrestling promotion for sure. They all have their strengths, they all have their weaknesses. And unfortunately last night was that first setback for AEW, as they had a show that definitely disappointed. It wasn't all terrible for being, their weakest show yet so far. It was definitely still a decent show. Problem is, though, they lost the crowd pretty early due to a very controversial moment in this show. But we'll get into it all, of course, as again, I want to make sure I got a good night's sleep, even though, well, let's just say I ate 4 slices of pizza, I ate 2 buffalo chicken stuffed shells, chips, salsa. Yeah, I stuffed myself last night. I was already falling asleep towards the end of the show, but yeah, I was definitely not in any right state of mind last night to do a review. So that's why I got a good night's sleep. It's Sunday. I can sleep in today. Of course, I'm going to visit friends later. I'm off from work tomorrow. And of course, my Clash of Champions 2020 card predictions are done. So make sure to check those out. Again, I haven't really gotten a lot of views on my match cards lately. But again, I do thank you, though, for the live streams. Been getting a lot of views. Again, my live reactions to the Iron Man match this past week, almost 5,000 views. Haven't had that many in quite a long time, so thank you guys for that. So let's just keep things rolling and keep things strong and keep going. So guys, what is going on? Sorry about the somber intro. This is the Club of the Man 1993, and I am here live to talk about last night's AEW pay-per-view, AEW All Out 2020. Took place yesterday, September 5th, 2020, at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. It was a long night, long show, hot one, as of course a lot of people of course know. Well, with 10 to 15% capacity in attendance, having to wear the masks, it was hot in Jacksonville. I mean, I wasn't there. It should have been hotter. It would have been hotter if I was there, but I just gotta say it because I say that lame joke all the time. But overall, again, as I said in the introduction, a lot of people will agree this was definitely AEW's weakest show so far, and kind of disappointing. I did expect more from this show. Problem is when you have one, I mean, there was a few botches on this show. A couple botches for sure. A couple controversial moments in this show, but especially the one that was too far. And of course, most of us know what I'm talking about. It's what happened in the Broken Rules match, as that was a broken match to begin with, and definitely the black mark of the night. That, again, leaves in the palm of the hands. How does AEW bounce back from a show like this where just things didn't work out, things didn't go well? Again, it's like that. It's like being in a relationship with somebody, and things are going good. Yeah, things are decent. Okay, that was a good thing. It was alright. This was good, it was alright. But nothing like, okay, this is nothing to worry about. Raise concerns or raising eyebrows. Tonight, last night was the first time that AEW kind of raised some concerns with us based off of how a certain event was handled, and of course with some botches as well, and also a controversial moment on commentary that JR immediately apologized for on Twitter. So I thank you for that, JR, for sure. So Yeah, it was definitely, for a decent show though, the low point so far for All Elite Wrestling. But again, keep this in mind. Shows like this are going to happen. Not every show is going to be great. Not every show is going to work out. There's going to be some show where some weaknesses get exposed. And we cannot escape from that. The way, of course, we all, move on from this, though, is again to see how AEW handles it, in the upcoming weeks and such, as they get back on track and get ready for their next pay-per-view, which is November 7th, and it'll be Full Gear. So we'll see where it goes with that. So without further ado, let's get into this. First, I think we have one comment in the live chat. It is the Elite Squad. What's up, Elite Squad? I gotta say also, Friday at work, I'm sitting there at work just humming to myself, be elite, be the elite, be elite. Well, they may be the elite soon, of course still be the elite, but they may be going a different direction, as the story of the elite actually coming out of this show is actually quite intriguing, I will say. So, let's roll that and see what we got from the show. So, we were supposed to get on the buy-in, which I didn't make any updated graphics for the buy-in, because I just didn't feel like it. But we were supposed to get the match with Dr. Britt Baker and Big Swole on the buy-in, but that did not happen. They moved it to the main card because AEW listens to their fans, and they moved the match that had 3 months of excellent build in it to the main card. And they listened to us, and of course, we were thrilled by that. So, we had on the buy-in, there was 2 matches that I had them on the background, but I was more so getting ready for my friends to come over, so I didn't really get to watch them. Serpentico and Joey Janela, where Joey Janela won, and then Private Party took on Alex Reynolds and John Silver of Dark Order, and Private Party won that as well. Again, I bet here a lot of fans are really high on John Silver. I gotta try to take a little more notice of it myself. But that's happened on the buy-in, just those 2 matches. Kind of a spur of the moment thing. So, alright, cool, whatever. So that was on the buy-in. So we opened up with the match that was supposed to be on the buy-in, but got moved to the main card. It's this tooth and nail match. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Big Swole. This match took place, it was a cinematic type match that took place, it looks like at Dr. Britt Baker's dentist office in Florida. It was mainly a false count anywhere match inside of the dentist office. It wasn't too bad. I would say it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. It was different. It was different, and I thought it was solid. They have Big Swole come into the dentist office, and obviously, Britt has like a nice, fancy-looking office with a bunch of, white walls and whatnot, very plain and such. But of course, immediately Big Swole was like, "Swole, Big Swole, I'm here to fight your boss, or whatever the heck it is, pretty much." So she goes around the dentist's office trying to find Britt. Britt, though, had been hiding out. She, comes out and they brawled. Like, it was only about like a 5 to 7 minute match. They brawled in the hallways. They went outside. They were on a golf cart or a forklift, one of the two. It looked, and then what's her name? Rebel, Reba, whatever her name is, got involved as well. Big Swole threw her, because they were trying to throw Big Swole into the dumpster, but instead they threw Rebel in there, and she pulled out a crutch for Britt to attack Big Swole. The match would get back inside and in one of Britt's patient rooms, where they get their cleanings at or whatnot. Again, just from going to the dentist for how many years. But the match ends. They had used some of the equipment, and I'm thinking, what's it going to turn into, like a scene from Little Shop of Horrors or something? Not quite, of course, because Britt didn't over didn't. I'm not gonna get that deep. He did basically what happened. They didn't pull off a Dr. Scrivolo on Britt Baker, even though Britt Baker's a woman, but and Scrivolo's a man. But okay, just thinking too far. Sorry, my high school did that musical for when I was a junior. But so the match ends whenever Big Swole takes a needle and puts it into Britt Baker's right leg, basically an anesthetic, put her leg to sleep. And then she then takes a gas mask and basically knocks out Britt Baker with gas. And that's how Big Swole wins the match, by knockout. Strange. It was strange. It was a little hokey, but I found it acceptable for something different. It wasn't my favorite thing. No, it was not. I didn't quite expect this, but it wasn't too bad. It kind of protects Britt. It makes me want to know if Britt maybe isn't quite ready yet, which is why they did something like this, just get her some action to kind of get her feet wet back in the water again. Excuse me. Or if just she's still is 100% yet or is protecting her. But again, I will say, I'm pretty sure this feud is going to continue. I think we're going to have this feud continuing in some ways for Britt to get her momentum back and maybe again win the women's championship, as again she at this point should. And that's going to be a theme of this pay-per-view. Britt's obviously the biggest name in this women's division right now. Yes, Hikaru Shida's gotten a lot better. She's great as well. But there's no doubt about it. The biggest name in this division is Britt Baker. Just like, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are the real big names in this brand. It's about time we let the big names just blossom and be the big names. Yes, we appreciate the fact that, they didn't just bring them in and give them, rocket ship pushes to the top and not build other new stars, but it's time for some of these bigger names to really shine. So, and Britt Baker is definitely one of them. But again, what I do appreciate about this feud is Britt was hurt for this feud. She couldn't do anything physically. Well, she was thrown into dumpsters, and pushed around in wheelchairs or something and whatnot. But even though she was not able to compete in the ring, she was not medically cleared, they still somehow made her relevant. And that's not something the WWE could do with an injured superstar. They can't. So I do give AEW credit for that. But again, I do see this feud continuing. I'm not sure where it's going to go. But we'll have to wait and see. So, Big Swole defeats Britt Baker by knockout. First, basically, putting pins and needles in her leg. Well, she literally did put a needle in her leg. But and then having her pass out to gas. So it different. Again, I wouldn't say it was the best thing I've seen, but it was different. So we have that. The second match we had was this tag match that just randomly got added to the show. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, taking on Jurassic Express's Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Luchasaurus. Really good match. The crowd, I thought, was really into this. Of course, what's interesting about this match, though, was Young Bucks were healing it up. They came across as heels in this match, I thought. Marco Stunt was outside of the ring with a crutch and his foot in a boot. They attacked Marco Stunt a few times as well. But I like how, even though, again, the Young Bucks got the win here, and again, like I said before about Britt Baker, Young Bucks as well, let them shine. Yes, they've, we came in here, we know that they're big stars already. They didn't need to prove anything, but they at least came in and they put other people over. It's now their turn to basically say, well, it's been a year, we've been getting opportunities, and we're not succeeding with them, so we're done, being nice. We're just taking whatever we can get at this point, pretty much. And the fact that, obviously, again, they're good friends also with another person who had another direction for his slow heel turn, and Kenny Omega later on. Um, Obviously, though, Lucha. I like how it came full circle here because Jurassic Express, the match at Jurassic Express they had like a month or so ago, was where Kenny first started teasing his heel turn. And Luchasaurus again pushed the Young Bucks to the limit, and the Young Bucks started, basically saying, okay, we ain't playing around anymore. We're going to get a little dirty here. But I thought it was, again, a great match. Again, Jungle Boy Jack Perry and both Luchasaurus both have a ton of great potential for sure. I've been hearing rumors that, of course, especially Jungle Boy, they want to give him a big push, but they don't want to have what happened with Drew McIntyre and have him basically not get the push in front of fans and get the reactions that he deserves and feed off of that. So they're basically waiting for fans to get back, which we have 10 to 15% capacity right now, so we have some life there. So maybe we could be seeing a different direction with that. But Young Bucks won. Again, I was picking Jurassic Express, but I think in the loss they still won this in ways, and Young Bucks got the win, and again kind of went a little bit of a different direction, which I found interesting, especially with, of course, what we were seeing. Well, they didn't go all out, no pun intended, with what I thought they were going to do, with Kenny Omega on this show, but they still tease another direction, more heights. So, yeah, like I said with Britt Baker, Young Bucks, another team that's like, okay, you guys are awesome, just let you loose and be awesome. You've done a great job putting over so many other talents and looking good, but even here in a win over a team, the team that lost, again, I still thought came out of this match looking amazing. And it looked like they could have won. It took a lot to put the Jurassic Express away, especially Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Again, he's another person, again, I wouldn't say don't do this yet. I honestly would like to see, well, we kind of saw a tease of it a little bit with when he was champion. I wouldn't mind seeing, like a few like Chris Jericho just had with Orange Cassidy with Jungle Boy. Of course, again, they kind of had like a mini feud when Jericho was champion, but have like a longer term feud, I would say, with them. Go all out with it, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so that was that match. Then we got to this match. This was the 21-man Casino Battle Royale. So once again, to review the rules of a Casino Battle Royale, basically, you draw, there's different groups. The Queens, Spades, Diamonds, and Hearts. Like 5 people, I think it is, comes out every 3 minutes, and then, the last 3 minutes who are pulled, the Joker comes out last. I don't know, guys. I'm just... They always seem to have some sort of match like this at pay-per-views. Like, whether it's a Casino Battle Royale, a Casino Ladder match, some type of, multiple superstar match like this, where the winner gets a title shot. I don't know if it's because they've overdone it and done it how many times at pay-per-views or something like that, or if it's just not fresh to me, but it's just I'm just whatever. It's like a match like this is why I honestly would rather have on the buy-in. Truth be told, that's why I'd rather have on the buy-in, to be honest. Because we have the same face in there. It's okay, a lot of these guys are already getting opportunities. Like I'm just saying, Darby Allin has had how many opportunities for the world title already? I mean, I love Darby Allin, but it's what's a win going to do for him here? He's not going to win the world title. Brian Cage already had an opportunity. I was thinking maybe Eddie Kingston was the runner-up in this, so he would have been a good pick. I was thinking maybe Ray Phoenix or Pentagon Jr. Could have been nice to have them taking on Moxley, or of course whoever won that main event. We'll get to that in a little bit. So I wasn't 100% into this match, I will say. So the first match came out was the clubs, not the Club of the Man, which was Trent, Christopher Daniels, Jake Hager, The Blade, and Ray Phoenix. The second batch was Frankie Kazarian, Will Hobbs, Chuck Taylor, Santana, and Ortiz. Those were the Diamonds. The third batch was the Hearts, Billy Gunn, Penta El Zero, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks, and Darby Allin. The fourth batch was Shawn Spears, who took his time getting to the ring, Eddie Kingston, the Butcher, Sonny Kiss, and Lance Archer, with, of course, Jake the Snake Roberts. And the Joker was the debuting Matt Sydal, formerly Evan Bourne from Air Boom. He was in WWE briefly early in the early 2010s, or I think maybe late 2000s also. I can't remember for sure, but of course, most of us WWE fans would probably remember who Evan Bourne is. So he came out as Matt Sydal. Unfortunately, he came out, and the first thing he does is he goes for his shooting star press, and he just screwed up big time. He slipped or something off the top rope and literally almost smacked his head off the turnbuckle. It was a nasty spot looking there. But the only things I remember about this match was that they had a spot where, of course, Darby Allin eliminated Ricky Starks. But then Ricky Starks goes berserk, pulls out a body bag, and also a smaller bag with thumbtacks. Brian Cage puts Darby Allin inside that body bag while the thumbtacks were inside. But the thing was first off, they didn't get all the tacks inside. A good amount of them got left in the ring for the rest of the match, which I thought was a little bit of a screw up there. The other thing too, though, is they dumped Darby Allin out of the match while inside that bag. And they kind of Cage had kind of recklessly tossed it over the top rope. So it looked like a very iffy spot. I hope he knew where Darby's head was. Because that's my biggest concern, is Darby getting hit in the head. He threw him on the concrete right by the steps too. So I was a little bit hoping creative, but still a little bit dangerous. Hoping that Darby didn't get severely hurt. Taking the bump with the tacks, I didn't mind that. But just the fact that they threw him out in that body bag where Darby can't see and tried to land himself safely, that kind of scared me a little bit. But the match went on. Again, there was the botch spot by Matt Sydal, who was, I think he placed third in this. It came down to Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer. And there's this spot there, I guess Eddie Kingston supposedly is afraid of snakes. So Jake Roberts just opening his bag and just shoving it up towards Eddie Kingston, but there was no snake coming out. I thought that was a little bit why didn't he just pull out the snake? Why couldn't he just show the snake with this? I didn't get that. But it leads to Lance Archer, though, eventually winning the match. And he's going to challenge at some point down the line for the AEW World Championship. Which, okay, of course, since, before, of course, I'm not going to spoil the main event, but of course, I think having Lance Archer face, either Jon Moxley or MJF would be good. Again, even though they're both heels, I feel the type of heel Lance Archer is, just a dominating monster heel, works with a guy like MJF, who, isn't, the best, wrestler per se. He's not going to do, 450 splashes and all those fancy stuff. But again, the psychology he has as a heel is just excellent. A type of heel like that mixes well with a heel who's just a dominating badass like Lance Archer. And of course, I wasn't aware of this, but Jon Moxley had dethroned Lance Archer in New Japan for his New Japan Pro Wrestling United States Championship, whatever the title's called. He dethroned Lance Archer there. So there is some history there. But my only thing is I don't mind Archer getting this title shot, but I wish they would have done a little bit more with him in between Double or Nothing and All Out. Okay, he had a couple little matches, but to me, it didn't feel like he was on the level he was before he lost to Cody at Double or Nothing. I wish they would have built him up a little bit more as a threat, I would say. But with that being said, like I said, this Battle Royale, it was whatever to me. Again, I didn't really care too much for it. Again, the couple botches, again, with, Matt Sydal, and then that spot with Darby Allin inside the body bag. Again, it was a little, edgy to me. I mean, yes, it was different, but like I said, the way Brian Cage just threw him out, I'm just like, okay, I hope, he knew where his head was, because I wouldn't want to see Darby smack his head off the concrete ground. Oh, I'm sorry, that still happened anyways tonight with something else we're going to get to in a second. But yeah, so, there was that match. That was a little bit messy. Now we're going to get to the spot of the black mark of the show. This next match was where this pretty much ruined the show. The show, they lost the crowd after what happened with this match, and this is, of course, the match that everybody is talking about from this show. Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara in a broken rules match. Pretty much this is a last man standing match that wasn't really going to take place inside the ring. So the match began on the football field, where of course they had most of the Stadium Stampede match. And it starts off with Sammy Guevara chasing down Matt Hardy in a golf cart, just like Matt Hardy and Page, or Hardy and one of the other members of the Elite was chased down Sammy Guevara with at some point when they feuded for the Stadium Stampede match. And of course Sammy went running into a bunch of boxes, and they start viciously brawling. And of course, they were playing the parts well. These two literally wanted to go in there and tear each other apart. Like, this had hardcore written all over it. We had a nice spot where with the DDT onto the picnic table and whatnot, and not too much, because we get to this spot where they climb up on a scaffold, and it looked like Hardy was going for like a side effect off the scaffold into a table, which is a typical fancy spot for sure. And if they would go, oh my goodness, spot. Unfortunately, though, it didn't go well, as they do the spot, but Matt Hardy missed the table. Well, he didn't miss the table, but like his tailbone down only went through the table. He landed right on his back, smacked his head right off the concrete. He was out. He was knocked out. And myself and a lot of other people were definitely just like, stop the match. Like, stop that match. Like that, again, that's a typical spot that, again, how many other wrestlers have done, again, how many times has it done, but it just, at times someone's going to screw up. It happens. Like, just stop the match. Like Hardy was out. Like, but of course Sammy was still, playing this part, trying to go after him, but, referees were like, stop. No, X, stop. Like, this is for real. Like, he literally got severely concussed. And he couldn't really walk. But the thing, though, was Matt was trying to get back up. He was trying to stay in character. He wanted to finish the match. But the thing was, they called off the match. They called it off. So, like, okay, does that mean Matt's career is over? Does it mean that he's done with AEW? But again, it was kind of like the first, big, like, oh my goodness, spur of the moment, what do we do thing. So they put Sammy in another room, and we followed along with Matt, and he can't walk. He couldn't stand up. But he was trying to stay in character. He was kind of like, he kind of said the same thing he said before the match started, calling out Sammy Guevara, basically saying, where are you? I'm going to kick your ass and whatnot. But then they have the doctor apparently, again, I haven't read any more reports from it, but the doctor apparently said that he believed that Matt Hardy was okay to continue the match, which should be a big no-no. That's just like, when CM Punk was telling the story about how the doctors, like, who's doing the concussion test, like, asking it, well, do you have a concussion? Or, like, basically he left up them. Which, again, a fall like that, no. No, should not be the case. Again, the match should have been stopped. I do agree they should have stopped the match. But they continued the match. They restarted it. And they have Sammy Guevara just jump out of a room and start brawling with him again. And they basically just... They rushed it. They just went to the spot that I'm sure was supposed to finish the match. They climbed up another higher scaffold. And Sammy got pushed off of it and fell through like Shane McMahon type height and fell through a bunch of tables, and that's how the match ended. It was we didn't get much out of it, but it was obvious again that this match again just should have been stopped. And that's where we kind of lost the crowd, because did AEW really handle this right? Like the doctor saying that, oh, Matt said he was okay to finish the match. Like, no, it's like, you're the doctor. You're the one who's making these decisions, not the wrestlers. I mean, yes, the wrestlers have to be honest, like, they're feeling something's wrong with it. They can't just, like, be going after everybody all the time, thinking, well, we gotta make sure you don't have a concussion or something like that. But, a spot like that, again, Matt was out cold. Matt was out. He was out. He was knocked out, like, for real. I think they should have stopped the match. But because they didn't, it definitely left a lot of taste and got a lot of heat on Tony Khan. So, this is, again, where I said the black mark of the show. Like, this Broken Rules match broke. This definitely, on paper, if that nasty botch didn't happen, this would have been a really good match. And I was feeling it already, the heat between these two in the start. But then, just how it ended, and just how, they didn't stop it, and how, like, I don't know, it was just, it was hard to watch, for sure. Again, I still think, I appreciate Matt Hardy for, caring about, us, and wanting to, put his body on the line. But again, like, Matt, we care about your safety too, man. We don't think you should continue the match. This match, again, should have been stopped. Because after this, Matt Hardy was rushed to the hospital. As Elite Squad said in the live chat, he was rushed to the hospital. And, quite frankly, he should have just not continued the match. Yes, he didn't really take much offense afterwards. There's a couple punches, him and Sammy did back and forth. They basically, again, just walked over to the scaffold and just climbed up and just pushed Sammy off, pretty much, just to say they finished the match. But, again, it was just... it was bad. Needless I say, definitely a worst match of the year candidate. And definitely a black mark on AEW for sure. Again, how they recover from this, we'll have to see what they do. So we have that match. Then we, what's next? What's next on this show? This is, I know, before I check Switch Crowd. Oh! Next was my match of the night. It won back the crowd for a little bit, but then it fell off again probably after that because of the match that followed it. So obviously, since this match got cut super short, some other match had to get time added to it. But this match, needless to say, I thought was my match of the night, despite the fact it came from, to me, the weakest part of AEW, which again, their women's division. The AEW Women's Championship match, Hikaru Shida versus Thunder Rosa. Awesome match. Again, I do like how Shida has, since obviously the depth in the women's division is down right now. Of course, Britt Baker's been injured for months. Chris Statlander's out with an ACL injury. Big Swole is just coming in. We've already seen her and Nyla Rose. Awesome Kong, I think she's hurt. I'm not sure what's going on with her. We haven't seen, Shida and Brandy yet, or who knows. But I like how they've had this thing where I'm pretty sure NXT would do this if they were allowed to. But bringing in other wrestlers from, other promotions, like NWA and whatnot, and to put on like classics like this, not just this, because again, what I love about AEW is that they're not all about making history for themselves. They're celebrating all of wrestling. You ever notice they talk about other wrestling promotions and companies, like they honor wrestling. They make the show about not just them. WWE, it's all about what WWE does. AEW is all about what wrestling does. So a match like this I can appreciate. And I thought it was really good. I've never watched Thunder Rosa before, but of course, my friends who are over, one of them who watches a lot more, wrestling outside of, just WWE and AEW, watches, Impact, NWA, New Japan, like a bunch of different wrestling. So obviously, he was excited about this match. And I thought Thunder Rosa looked great. Definitely somebody I think, AEW should sign to, bolster the depth of their women's division. And Hikaru Shida, again, I thought looked excellent in this match, too. She's been a good champion so far, I will say. Will she drop the belt to Britt, though? I mean, they do have history already from that April 8th match they had whenever Shida broke Britt's nose. But I thought this was my match of the night. It got the crowd on its feet, but then it dwindled back out again, unfortunately. Let's go to the live chat. Oh, there's nobody in the live chat right now, really. It's okay. But we had that. Before the next match, though, we had a tease of Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian announced they're getting married. And on Wednesday, we're going to reveal who the best man is. Which, I'm just like, oh boy. Again, I'm already having a bad taste from how they handled the Matt Hardy situation. And then also, during the next match, JR made a little bit of a controversial comment that he immediately apologized for on Twitter, which I appreciate him doing that, but, it was a bad joke, put it that way. But, of course, you know how a lot of us feel about, wrestling and weddings. They don't mesh well. They're never really that good, so I'm hoping this doesn't, get a little too wonky and out of control. I mean, it's probably going to lead to, again, a feud between Kip Sabian and Joey Janela, since Penelope Ford is Joey Janela's former girlfriend. But, who knows? Hopefully it doesn't get a little too hokey, though. Here, though, was another one of my least favorite parts of this show. This match here. This 8-man tag match with the Dark Orders, I almost said Luke Harper. The current TNT champion, Brody Lee, Colt Cabana, Stu Grayson, and Evil Uno, taking on the team of the Natural Nightmares, or Nightmare Naturals, what they're called, Dustin Rhodes, QT Marshall, and then SCU's Scorpio Sky and Matt Cardona, formerly, of course, Zack Ryder. This match could have been eliminated from the card, to be honest. I felt that this is a match. This is like a main event match for, Dynamite, I would have taken. As far as it being, though, on this card, and they added more time onto it because of what happened with the Broken Rules match, it definitely, I mean, again, the crowd was brought back with the Shida and Rosa match, but I felt that this kind of took them out of it and just burned them out completely. This was just average. It wasn't anything too spectacular to me, I thought. Again, I know they're playing off on the storyline of, they're getting revenge for what the Dark Order did to Cody Rhodes. But right now, with the momentum that Dark Order got off of that, they should not have been losing, I thought, in this match. They get the win. What I appreciate, though, at least, though, is they still kind of had something coming out of this, because they had Colt Cabana be the one to get pinned. I can't remember. I think it was Dustin who pinned Cabana. I think, or again, Colt got pinned. I can't remember which one of the night. I know it was Matt Cardona. I think it was Dustin Rhodes. Yeah, of course, Dustin pinned Cabana, and afterwards backstage he made a case, and he's going to be having a TNT Championship match against Brody Lee on Dynamite this week. But I still not been a big fan of Colt Cabana and this Dark Order storyline. Again, it just feels super random. It's just them grabbing someone random and not really. I don't know, something about it still doesn't mesh with me with Colt Cabana and the Dark Order. But again, I do appreciate the fact that they at least had the person who has a story going on with them and gaining the trust with Dark Order take the pinfall victory. Afterwards, though, Evil Uno seems like, lend him a hand, though, so I'm not sure where that's going. So yeah, but definitely, if there was any match I thought they could have eliminated from this card, it was definitely this one. I felt it wasn't really needed whatsoever. I mean, you can kind of say the same thing about the Young Bucks and Jurassic Express. To cut down, this show was like 3 hours and 50 minutes. And with a more energetic crowd, it could have been better, of course. What costed this show was losing the crowd. That's what cost them. So, in this match, again, like I said, they were getting the energy back with Shida and Rosa, but then I thought this match just killed it all again. Especially for the match that followed this, which was, will anything else happen between there besides Dustin Rhodes, having that pretty good fired up promo he had. But next was, in my opinion, the match that should have been match of the night, should have been a match of the year candidate also. Unfortunately, though, because of the crowd, it was just a good match, not a classic, as it should have been. The AEW World Tag Team Championship match. The Elites, Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, taking on FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler. Their first, if you want to include Fyter Fest, this was not their first pay-per-view match, technically, even though Fyter Fest was just like a TV special or whatnot. Again, this should have been a match of the year candidate. I had super high hopes. Again, the story going into this match was awesome. Again, with Hangman, stopping the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega obviously, losing faith in Adam Page. Even before the match starts, he's like, "Can I trust you?" Pretty much. And again, the match goes on. Again, I do like one thing that I always loved about Harwood and Wheeler, like in WWE and NXT especially. Again, a lot of people aren't big fans of old school wrestling, and I don't feel like I have the appreciation for old school wrestling. So I didn't watch, of course, back in the 80s and 90s. One, I was not alive in the 80s. Two, I was only 5 years old in the 90s. Couldn't understand really what the heck was going on with this stuff. But again, just the simple philosophy that Harwood and Wheeler have of old school wrestling, the simple psychology they have just makes them that great. That's why I was fans of them, in NXT, whenever they were NXT champions. They were villains, but they were scrappy people who found ways to win and sneak around things, I thought. And that's just, again, what I can appreciate from them like that. And going to, of course, testing, the trust between Hangman and Omega was just an excellent way to capitalize. Like I said, it just needed the crowd. And without the crowd, it felt like, that this match is missing something. So instead of being a classic, it was just good. Instead of like an A+, it was a B. Of course, it seemed like that Omega and Page were fine until they go for that V trigger. But then whoever, I think they had Harwood, held up in the middle of the sandwich or whatnot. Instead, Hangman takes out Omega, and then Harwood and Wheeler, work on the knee of Omega and basically wound his knee, and then they hit two spike pile drivers in a row to win the match and become the new AEW World Tag Team Champions. After the match, of course, again, Kenny Omega for about a month and a half, I'd say, has been teasing a heel turn. He pulled out a ringside table, and he was teasing he was going to hit Hangman with it. But then instead, he just drops it, and he walks away. And we even follow him as he walks all the way, exiting the stage, back into Gorilla, and he walks through the hallway, and Matt and Nick follow him again, obviously his two best friends, and he's like, "Nope, I'm done, I need to go back and do this myself," and whatnot, and then, again, he just left Hangman in the rain. He gets in his car and he drives away. So, obviously, leaving us hanging, obviously, again, that, there's tension in the Elite. And I said before, they could turn the Young Bucks heel. Omega turn him heel as well. Get them both all three of them heels. And again, like I said, I said before about them and about Britt. Your biggest names, obviously, that you didn't book them as like the number one thing on your show, because obviously it would have been nothing new. People expected Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks to be like the biggest names in the company. They allowed other people to get over too at their hands. Now it's a year later. It's time to let loose. Be the stars you guys are. And by those three turning heel, that's where we're going to get started. Well, I wouldn't say the Bucks turn full on heel yet. Just get more aggressive, I would say, because again, Full Gear, FTR and the Young Bucks, my biggest match I want to see right now out of any wrestling promotion, whether it's women, singles for men, or tag team, that's the match I want to see right now. Full Gear has to happen. FTR, Young Bucks, tag champions. No excuse. It's time. I thought we were going to get on this show. We didn't, but I'm like, you know what? Getting the titles involved, I'm completely cool with it. We'll get that. We'll probably get Omega and Paige maybe at that show, or not, because I know a lot of people are thinking Omega should win the championship to win the AEW World Championship at Full Gear. I'd say not yet. Just my opinion, not yet, but we'll get to that. But I'd still say, definitely build for Kenny and Hangman. I'd say that would be a great match, a great singles match for the men to have on the card. Again, and the other thing too, we don't need to have so many tag matches on these shows also. Cut back on tag matches, get some more singles feuds in there. And definitely Hangman Adam Page, who again was feuding a year ago, fought Chris Jericho in the first match for the AEW World Championship. Obviously, a lot of people didn't think he was quite ready to be the man yet. Now he is ready to be a main eventer single star. So turn Kenny heel full on. Have him and Hangman have a match at Full Gear. And then, as far as for the World Championship, not sure yet based off of how the main event ended. Which we'll get to that in a few minutes. But first, let's get to the match happened after this. The trilogy of Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy in the Mimosa Mayhem match. Again, basically, it was weird. You had to win by either pinfall, submission, or throwing your opponent into the pool of 500. I thought it was only 80 gallons, but it was 500 gallons of Mimosa Mayhem. Orange juice mixed with a little bit of the bubbly. This match was what it was. Again, I'm never a big fan of you gotta throw, again. This was an acceptable way of something about WWE doing the hog pen match with Santina Marella and Vicky Guerrero, who was also in the crowd, by the way. Vicky was there. This is kind of a tolerable version of that. Again, I don't know. It was okay to me. It was an okay match. And Orange Cassidy won. They teased, of course, Jericho shoving him in there that he was able to hold back. Of course, Jericho did bring out Floyd. I thought Floyd was going to get involved. They did take out each other through the tables with the champagne on them. Of course, one time Jericho actually picked up one of the tables and threw it at Cassidy. It looked like it hit Cassidy in the back of the head. Weird spot there. It did its job. Cassidy wins with a Superman punch, knocking Jericho, and he falls flat back as he just spread his arms, his legs. He did a break fall, fell right back into into the Mimosa Mayhem as Cassidy wins and wins the feud. Of course, though, the way Jericho landed looked like he was just falling, landed into a hot tub, and he enjoyed it, oh yes, drink it in, man. I actually like how I thought it was funny. He looked like he was, he looked like he went a little bit out of character, and he's like, oh yeah, that feels good, or something like that. Again, he should have been livid that he lost this match, but of course that ends the feud. Again, 14 weeks for a pretty good feud. As far as Cassidy goes, some people are saying, and I agree, Full Gear, have him have a match for the TNT Championship. Why not? He came out, he freaking won a feud with Chris Jericho. I mean, I wouldn't say world championship yet. Maybe if MJF, well, don't want to spoil the main event, but maybe if it would have went a certain other way, maybe he would have challenged for the world championship. But since it's not going to be the case, go for the TNT championship. I don't think he wins it yet, but why not? Give him a title match. He's earned it. He's a star that was built out of a feud like this. Well, started with his match with Pac, which I honestly thought his matches with Jericho were good, but I think his best match is definitely his match with Pac back at Revolution. I still think today that was his best match. So we have that. So this was what it was. And then finally, we get to our main event. The main event, Jon Moxley and MJF for the AEW World Championship, with the Paradigm Shift banned from this match. Good match. Again, it would have been better if the crowd was into it, but I think with what they worked with, it was good. Of course, with the way this feud's gone, there was a lot of blood involved in this match. Again, MJF bladed pretty darn good, and he lost a lot of blood in this match. But he's going head first into either the apron or the post. Also, Moxley literally bit his head off. At one point, I thought it was quite priceless. The match ends though with the referee distracted by Wardlow. Wardlow tosses in the diamond ring, but of course MJF didn't catch it, and he didn't see where the ring went to. And pretty much looked at Moxley like, oh crap, I'm screwed here. But the referee's back was turned, so Moxley, of course, who at times was getting ready to hit the Paradigm Shift, even though it was banned, was still trying to come up with something else to, put away MJF. Because MJF took away his silver bullet. But of course, as Moxley says, that's dumb because, a guy like me, you've given me a wide open door to think of something more dangerous to hit you with. So the referee not looking, Moxley hits the Paradigm Shift and pins MJF to retain the championship, giving MJF his first loss in AEW, which the way they did it was okay. Still thought MJF should have won this, but again, I'm fine with this. Of course, they have Lance Archer in the crowd watching as he's going to challenge Moxley. And again, like I said earlier, they have history. Moxley did dethrone Archer for the in New Japan for the United States Championship in there, so there is some history there. But like I said, I still would like to have seen Archer get built up a little bit more again after his loss. Cause he lost to Cody and he kind of just sat around and he's like, okay, he's in the Battle Royale, whatever, pretty much. I wasn't a fan of... I wish they would have done a little more build to it. But the other thing is, too, is MJF has a case here. Even though, of course, MJF was going to cheat to win with the diamond ring, Moxley took advantage of MJF's tactics and pinned him. But I still say MJF's going to make a case for a rematch. So I think we will get a rematch at some point. Which makes me wonder, are we going to get that Full Gear? Are we going to get Moxley and Archer at Full Gear? I'm not sure. A lot of people are saying Moxley should fight Omega at Full Gear. And Omega beats him there. My thing is, though, we've already seen Moxley and Omega, though. Their lights out match. It's like, are they going to be able to top that off? I get it, the dynamic's a little bit different this time. I thought Moxley was more of a heel when he first came in. He was just a badass. And Omega was just being himself as well as a badass babyface or whatnot. I'm not super interested in seeing them again. I mean, I like their match, but I'm just like, not yet. I'm not ready to see them again yet, I would say. So that's why I'm not quite on board with Omega and Moxley again. Even though, Omega win the championship, it's fine. Again, because like I said before, if you want to let him be the big, we held him back from being the biggest star. Now let him be the biggest star on this brand. But I still don't know if I want to see Moxley and Omega again yet. So we'll see where this goes. Again, Moxley retains with the paradigm shift, even though it was banned. And guys, that being said, it was up here a lot longer than I thought I would. That's going to do it for my live review of AEW All Out. Again, a setback is only saying it for a comeback. I gave this show a C+. It lost the crowd after that Broken Rules match. And again, we continue to wait and see where this goes and how AEW will handle what happened with Matt Hardy and a couple of these other botches as well. So again, I gave this show a C+. Check the polls on Twitter and the live chat. Nobody else said anything in the live chat besides the Elite Squad. 25 votes for what grade would you give this show? 16% said A, 32% said B, 36% said C, and 16% said D or lower. Like I said, I'll give this a C+. Their weakest show yet, but it was still decent. It was still a decent show. It just, again, some things just didn't work out. So how does AEW follow up from this and fix, from their mistakes from this show? We'll see where it goes. And again, just prayers that hoping that Matt Hardy does recover well from that concussion. Because again, that was just scary. But guys, that's going to do it. That's going to be this. What are your thoughts on AEW All Out? Even since I'm off tomorrow and be well rested, even though I have work's going to be kind of crazy this week. Because again, we're going to be one person short at work, so I'm pretty much going to have a lot on my plate this week. It's going to be nuts. So I got to get some good rest, but maybe I'll still try to review Raw on Monday night. Who knows? Because Tuesday is going to be NXT again, so we'll see what goes down tomorrow. But that's definitely going to be it for me today. I'm not sure what time. If I'm going to have time before I leave, I want to get back to my Harry Potter Let's Play, so definitely that'll probably be my next video, or my Raw review, who knows. So, guys, C+ for AEW All Out 2020. Again, disappointing show, and definitely a show that AEW is going to have to come back from. What are your thoughts on this show? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Be sure as always to slap a like on the video, subscribe or comment to my channel, and follow me on Twitter at DemandAirboy93. Also, make sure to check out my Clash of Champions 2020 card predictions that was just uploaded before this stream started. And, yeah, guys, till then, I'm out. Have a good rest of your Sunday. If I don't talk to you again, have a good Labor Day as well, guys. Enjoy your time off for those who get a day off for Labor Day. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Till then, guys, have a great rest of your Sunday. Peace out, everybody.